Hey everyone, my name is Max, and today I just wanted to do a quick video just talking about the upcoming survival world that I'm going to play on and some of the settings and changes that I am going to make to the game, as well as how I chose this seed and some of the things that I look for in setting up a long-term survival world. So, after a while of searching, I found this Reddit post by Particle Wave 1 where he wrote a script that found seeds with biomes within a 2K block border. Now, for context, the current Hermit Island is about 2K by 2K. The Hermitcraft Season 8 island is about 2K, 2K. So I've decided to use a world border this world just because 1.18 is coming out, and I felt like it might be best to confine the chunks that I'm going to be loading. And I just wanted to make sure that I had all the necessary biomes and blocks accessible to me as I played for the next 6 to 8 months while I wait for 1.18. So these were kind of the biomes that I was really looking for. Mushroom fields, badlands, warm ocean, ice spikes, flower forest, bamboo, jungle, and also desert as well. Mushroom, because you want access to mycelium potentially. It's a different set of blocks. Mushroom cows. Not really vital, but I felt like it might be kind of interesting to have and have access to. Badlands, I need some sort of terracotta mining desert. I've been thinking about a long-term cyberpunk build, and I think having access to the terracottas would be really beneficial in a build of that scale and that size. Same thing goes for a desert. I need access to a mining desert, and an ability to create a lot of sand is really helpful. I decided I wanted a bamboo jungle just because bamboo is a cool resource. You can use it as fuel. It was my main fuel source back in my previous world, as well as being pretty nice decoratively. Flower forest, I want access to all those nice floral colors and dyes as well. Ice spikes biome, there's truly no better way to get ice than ice spikes. Just mine out an ice spike, and then it'll just be with ease, instead of making an ice farm, which I've never found to be truly productive, especially if you're trying to go for blue ice or compressed ice. And finally, a warm ocean, just to have access to the corals and coral fans. If I ever need a TNT duper for anything, having coral fans, I think, is super important. And unfortunately, the Wandering Trader does not sell coral fans, so I felt like I needed just to have access to those types of blocks. Besides that, I wanted to highlight some of the villages that are around here. It's nice to have access to these villagers. Just so you know, the world border is going to be 2,000 by 2,000, so right about here is where the cutoff is on the right side, and here is also where the cutoff is. So you can see that all these biomes are relatively in the chunk that's going to be accessible by the world border. And truly, if anything, I'm missing, because there's so many blocks and so many things in this game. I can always extend the border, or fly out to lower the border, fly out to chunks, and then delete those chunks eventually and let them regenerate in 1.18. I'm not too worried about it. So I have access to a few ocean monuments, which is nice. I think this one might be nice for a guardian farm, or this one, or probably this one as well as a lot of villages, which is nice. And there is a pillager outpost, which is in boundary, which means I will have access to a really easy totem farm, which I think is one of the most important early game farms, just because it's so convenient to have. So this is why I chose this seed. I mean, I spent a lot of time doing RNG, just clicking over and over and over again, and I just couldn't find anything. So luckily, my friend Particle Wave made this post, and I am using the 5th one, 6th one? I don't know, one of these. This one, yeah, the 7th one. One thing that's super cool is that you spawn on this unique kind of island in the middle of the ocean, which I think is a really cool world spawn. And also, your spawn chunks are always going to be loaded, so it's going to be a very important area for farms. And having those farms over an ocean might be super cool, and have access to making some cool kind of floating looking farms in the spawn chunks. Ideally, I think my ideal seed would be a plains biome, but having an island might look really cool. And I already have a few ideas of ways to semi-decorate it, as spawn chunks are mainly technical builds, but it might be cool to have. Additionally, there's this big area right here with a lot of plains biomes, which is my favorite and easiest to build in, I find, as well as some forests and etc. etc. As for all the different types of trees, I'm not too concerned. I don't necessarily need a dark oak forest or a birch forest because I can have access to the wandering trader and use those trades. I know I'm thinking about this now, but there has to be some things that I'm missing, things I won't have access to, but I'm only going to really find that once I get into the world and really start playing it, I think. It's really hard to predict all the things that I want to do in the next 6 to 8 months, but I think that it'll be a lot of fun and I can push some projects off. For example, there's no witch farm in this 2000 by 2000 block perimeter. The closest one is right here, which is it's 2,300 on the Z, so unfortunately that's 300 blocks out in the Z direction. But I don't know if witch farms are early game builds, but it looks like I'm not going to make one. In order to do due diligence, I would probably want to do a full perimeter, potentially double witch farm if possible, if I really want to spend that time. And besides, with the buffs to mining, I hope that having access to redstone won't be a problem, which is the main reason you would get a witch farm if you're having significant lack of iron. I don't know if I'm really missing anything, but I think it'll be a really cool seed, having this big ocean in the middle surrounded by this continent, and then hopefully the terrain generation in 1.18 gets really exciting, especially this massive continent over here with a lot of these mountains, and we'll really see how that looks in time. Right now it's really tough to figure out when things will start looking like they're ready to come out. And the final thing I wanted to touch on is some tweaks and data packs that I'm going to use in the world. So this is Vanilla Tweaks, originally started by Azuma. He's no longer incorporated with the project, but it's a really awesome project detailing some changes and minor tweaks to the game, which I've always found just like really helpful as someone who's played the game for almost 10 years. Just things that make your quality of life so much nicer. One thing to note is I will be playing this alone. However, I'm going to be playing on a server. I just like having access to play it at any time, and also the idea that I can make backups and save it to my physical hard drive, as well as it being in cloud storage, just makes me feel nice. So the first thing I'm going to add is the armor stand book. Really popular by Zombie Cleo, but it allows you to move armor stands and create these armor stands in a very unique and fun way. It's just like an additional mechanic that you can add to survival that I think is just really fun, and there's no real downsides of playing without it. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. I'm also going to use unlock all recipes. Just having that recipe thing go up and up over and over is kind of annoying. So this unlocks all recipes in the game as soon as you log into the world, and after that you'll never see it again, which I really like. Since I'm playing on a survival world, a server, I'm going to use the AFK display. I don't know why. It's just nice when you're AFK, it shows up as gray. No real reason. Multiplayer sleep has now been added to the vanilla game, so I am not going to include multiplayer sleep. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, it might actually be nice to have it announced in chat. I don't think it matters. I'm going to add it just because I like it announcing it in chat. Graves, I think, is a little too cheaty. When you die, I think you should lose items. But also, a lot of these things are like cheating. I think a lot of people will think that I am cheating with some of the tweaks, and more specifically the crafting tweaks that I choose. But after playing this game for so long, it just saves time. And, I don't do this full time. So anytime I get to play it and save time and actually get to play in the game and stop doing grindy tasks is really nice for me. So that's why I kind of make the decisions I make. And if you really hate the decision, let me know in the comments down below. The next one I'm going to do is track raw statistics and track statistics. I don't know. It's nice to have more data, I think. There's no real reason there. I'm not going to use anything with this data. Drop concrete powder into a cauldron. No, thank you. And I think that's about it for this. Items, I am going to do player head drops just because it seems like it should be in the default game. And it's also just kind of fun. And I always want access to my own head. Number one, anti-Enderman grief. I just think it's so important to know that mobs can't change your builds. When you make a build, that's what it will look like. And the fact that Enderman can mess it up and change things and potentially destroy redstone, it seems too much of a risk for me to have, especially for someone who plans on playing this world for most likely multiple years. So I'm going to keep that on. Creepers are different because that's always player done. Not always player done, but I think that's part of it. Traditionally, I would play with double shulker shells. However, with the renewable shulker shells, I'm going to pass this time. Same thing with dragon drops. I've usually played with dragon drops, but I think since it's a solo world, I can just fly out, get an elytra, and just get, 5 or 6 of them. I don't even have to raid the end villages. I can just fly around and yoink them. Just because I don't need to grab every shulker shell and fight everything. So I'm not going to do this. Although it would be nice to have multiple dragon eggs, but I can figure out a way to dupe them. Larger phantoms, I think, is just a cool mechanic where they get bigger and bigger over time. I think it's kind of fun. I like adding it. More mob heads, very similar to armor statues, just another kind of additional mechanic and fun collectible that you can add into the game and works really well with the armor statues. You can add different mobs and different characters, and it's different ways to collect things. Silence mobs is a great way to, if you have to use mobs in a build and you're always around mobs, it gets them to be quiet, which I really like. Ability to view all mob deaths. Okay, yeah, might as well. And I also like villager deaths, where it announces the villager where it died in the overworld, where the villager died in chat. I really like that, just knowing when and where and what happens to my villagers. I'm going to be working very heavily with villagers in the beginning of the series, so just knowing when they die is going to be nice. Teleportation is a little too cheaty for me. Some people use a camera account. Sometimes I go into spectator mode, so I'm going to just turn these on. Spawning spheres, I have mini HUD, which is basically allows me to do a spawning sphere, so I'm going to not have that. Custom villager shops, I'm not going to need. This is for like making farms, and kill empty boats is for lag, but I'm going to be responsible for my own lag. I am going to do mini blocks this time. I've been debating it, but I think it could be pretty fun to have tiny blocks, and I really don't want to abuse it, but I think one thing that is exciting is that these mini blocks are A, hard to get, which makes them pretty balanced, and also B, is they're blocks existing in the game. One thing I don't like is the heads that look like other things, like a hamburger or a football or something like that, where you can make something that isn't there into Minecraft. These are Minecraft blocks, and that's how I don't know. It's just another mechanic that I want to play with this time around, and none of these are a thing I want. So I'm going to download that, and it's of course going to do this, and okay, so I got that right here. And then the other thing I want to talk about is some crafting tweaks. Now, a lot of, I think a lot of people in the community will think that this is cheating, but like I said, it saves me a lot of time, and time is pretty valuable in this game. A loss of an hour or two crafting trapdoors and chopping down trees it's not that fun, and especially when I'm building at such a large scale. Doing all these blocks and it gets a lot. So I'm gonna do back to blocks, which allows you to interchange slabs to full blocks to stairs. Just really helpful, like in case you craft, I don't know, a bunch of stairs, it's not all lost and you can change them back into blocks. Same thing with double slabs. You can craft a slab from a block and block from a slab. Just really helpful tweak. Same thing, dropper and dispensers. I think this should be the recipe, just so you can craft them in bulk. So annoying to craft them in bulk. Rotten flesh to leather. I like this one. I really don't try to abuse it a lot. There's no use for rotten flesh. And eventually you're going to have to make a cow farm anyway if you want to start getting into bookshelves. But it's nice just to have in case you need it in a pinch. I'm not going to use any of these black dye things. Sandstone dyeing I don't really use, but universal dyeing is vital. I couldn't play without it. If you make all your terracotta one color, you have the ability to re-dye it, which is so helpful. This straight to shapeless allows you to craft some stuff in your personal inventory, which is really nice if you need to craft paper on the go or shulker boxes, an example, or whatever. Super small tweak, but I like it. And then this is another one that's new that I'm adding this time around, which I really like, is if you smelt powdered concrete, it turns into stained glass, which I think is actually a very clever thing, and kind of makes sense in the base game. It's colored sand, so it would make colored glass. I think it's a clever tweak, so I'm gonna add it, but not gonna add blackstone to cobblestone, even though that one is, I don't know, whatever, weird choices. This is a little more controversial, but I'm going to do the more of everything. I build with trapdoors all the time. Trapdoors are basically my favorite type of block, and every build I do is a ton of trapdoors. So you have to mine or cut down so much wood to make trapdoors in the base game that I don't know if I could play without it. Like, I just need my trapdoors. This one, the trapdoors, non-negotiable. I would take all the other tweaks away if I didn't have my 12 trapdoors. More bark, I don't know. More stairs, I like having more stairs and more bricks. Whatever, I don't know. Craftables, I'm going to do craftable gravel because flint has no use, and gravel does have a use. It's nice to have that crafting recipe there. A lot of these are, this is a modded recipe, and I just think it makes sense for me in my game that I want to play. Craftable horse armor, I don't like it because it's a rare block, so I try to avoid that. Same with golden apples and name tags. You can get name tags through trading, so there's no reason that you would need to craft them, because you can trade them in bulk. And then I'm gonna craft coral just because I think everything in this game should be renewable in some way, and so that is just a nice tweak to have. As well as unpackable ice. I don't know. It's nice to switch between the two. I used to have unpackable nether wart, but the problem was I would cut down those trees in the nether with a hoe, and you would get so much nether wart, it would be insane. So I'm not going to do it this time, but crafting ice and back and forth is nice, and it's a great way to compact ice. Or if you it is 1 a.m., so that's when I decided it would be smart to record this, so ignore that yawn. I'll cut that out. And yeah, so the fastest way to get ice, even just normal ice, is cut down an entire ice spike and unpack it down into ice, which is helpful. So that is the other tweaks that I'm going to be using in this world. And now the final thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to be using a world border that is 2,000 by 2,000. So 2,000 blocks east, 2,000 blocks west, so 4,000 blocks in total. And then 2,000 blocks north, 2,000 blocks south. So it's a 4K by 4K border around the world, which I think is enough to have 6 months of fun and really build and have a large amount of room to play with. But it also gives me lots of room to expand in 1.18, which I'm super, super excited about. So yeah, the only other thing I want to talk about is I am going to turn Fire Tick off in the upcoming world. And yeah, I'm crazy, crazy excited to get this world started. And hopefully the first episode will be out shortly. I'm going to stream... I'm going to be streaming the world as well as trying to do some videos on it, and I think it should be a lot of fun. I have a massive Chateau Mega build coming up, which was going to be the first build of this series, or the first Mega build of the series. So get ready. I think it's going to be a really great one, and yeah, I'm super excited. So this has been me rambling at 1:30 in the morning, but I just wanted to get this video out there just to let you guys know what's in my world, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for tuning in. I will see ya in the world. All right, bye bye.